First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'Hashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. Also, want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, I wanted to go into how Turkey joining Brics is Bible prophecy unfolding, right? Specifically, Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Okay, and just getting straight to the point, this is going to be a quick video. Here we have a couple headlines going into how NATO member Turkey says process is underway to join Brics nations, right? And there's a group of people that thought this would never happen because Turkey is part of the EU, the European Union. Right, a majority of the nations in the European Union are against the BRICS nations, right? Brazil, and BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and South Africa. Okay, and under that umbrella, that acronym BRICS, right, you have all these other countries are entering, right? Which ultimately, the BRICS nations are making their own currency. Right? I think it's in October this year. They're gonna release, or they're gonna talk about the BRICS currency, which is gonna rival the dollar. And once that happens, that means hyperinflation in America, right? Because as soon as another currency battles the dollar, all those dollars that they were using are going to come back to America, right? And that means there's going to be an influx of dollars going into how, if there's an influx of dollars, too many dollars, that means everything, the dollar is going to be worthless, right? It's going to be worthless, right? Because the reason things have value is because of scarcity. Right, the reason gold has value is because there's not a lot of it. It's rare, right? So when there's a lot of dollars here, that means that the dollar's going to be worth less, which means that everything on the shelves is going to go crazy up, right? Hyperinflation, right? And scriptures talk about that. It talks about how suddenly the storehouses shall be found empty, right? The storehouses going into these Walmarts, these Costco's, these Super Savers. Right, these stores that got food and water, suddenly they're going to be found empty, right? Because when these types of events happen, right, whether it's a civil war, okay, it's a terrorist attack, an economic collapse, the first thing people are going to do is run to the shelves, right? Because they're not going to, they don't have wisdom. So the first thing they're going to do is run to the shelves and try to stockpile. So let's get into one of these articles. AP News, it says Turkey seeks to join the BRICS bloc of emerging economies, a Kremlin official. It's loading. Let's see how long it takes. It says Turkey seeks to join the BRICS bloc of emerging economies, a Kremlin official says. NATO member Turkey has applied for membership in the BRICS bloc of developing economies, a senior Kremlin official said Wednesday, as Russia and China seek to counter the West's global influence. Yuri Ushakov, President Vladimir Putin's foreign affairs aide, told reporters that Turkey has submitted an application for full membership in the bloc that Russia this year's chair, and it will be considered. And ultimately, they are going to join, right? Because it's written in the scriptures, right? It's written in the scriptures. I'm going to summarize what I'm about to read in the prophecy, that Russia is going to be a guard unto all these other nations, smaller nations. Right, Russia is going to be at the forefront, leading World War III, right, pretty much taking face, right? So you're going to have Russia at the forefront, and under Russia, you're going to have Iran, you'd have Ethiopia, Libya, Turkey, and all these other countries, but Russia is going to be at the forefront, right? So the fact that Turkey is joining is what we read in the scriptures, or what we're going to read, haven't got to it yet, is taking place. But it says, let me see how much is here. If it's a long article, not that long, I'll skim through it. It says, the BRICS alliance was founded in 2006 and by Brazil, Russia, India, and China, with South Africa joining in 2010. It has recently undergone an expansion and now includes Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia has said it's considered joining, and Azerbaijan and Malaysia have formally applied. Right, ultimately, once Saudi Arabia fully joins, because they're also going to join, okay, that's a goodbye to the dollar, right? Because another thing is that Saudi Arabia, they didn't renew their petrodollar deal with America, right? And what I'm talking about is that I think it's every 30 or 40 years, Saudi Arabia pretty much made a agreement, a deal with the United States that they'll only use U.S. dollars, okay, and they'll only trade oil with them in U.S. dollars. Pretty much all the oil would be to America, and they'd use dollars, right? It was like a guaranteed agreement of oil going back and forth, and that they'd only use dollars. And I said that 3 times, but it just got a little bit confused in my head. But this year, that renewment date came again, and they didn't renew it, right? They didn't renew the agreement that they once had. So the reason the United States dollar right now is the hegemony, is the top dog in the world, is because it's backed by the oil from the Saudis. Okay, that's the only reason. So the fact that the Saudis didn't renew the deal is showing face that they don't have trust in the dollar anymore. Okay, and they're looking to venture somewhere else. So it says, Brics has a stated aim to amplify the voice of major emerging economies to counterbalance the Western-led global order. Its founding members have called for a fair world order and the reform of international institutions like the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. Erdogan, who has been in power for more than 2 decades, has sought to carve a more independent foreign policy for Turkey and to enhance. And now it's just going into a bunch of just jargon, but let's get into the scriptures. I think the point's established. Turkey is looking to join Brics. Okay, and the prophecy is Ezekiel chapter 38. We'll start at verse 1. It says, "And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." Right, and when it's talking about Gog and the land of Magog, it's talking about Russia. Right, the reason you know that is because if you search up Gog and Magog land, Russia, okay, where those ancient people used to be, okay, is exactly where Russia is today. Right, let's see what AI says. It says, in modern apocalyptic literature, Gog and Magog are sometimes identified as communist Russia and China. Right, and it's actually just Russia. However, this interpretation differs from the Bible, where Gog and Magog are described as evil forces that will join Satan in a final structure at the end of the time. Right, and what that's going into is ultimately Gog, Magog, Russia. It's talking about World War III. Okay, simplified, Gog and Magog, Satan. Satan just meets his adversary, which goes into the wicked elite. This is talking about World War III. But the point is, Gog and Magog is talking about Russia. Okay. Let's see if we can pull up the map. If it shows it. Can't find an easy map that shows it, but that's what it's talking about. Is it this right here? Yeah, Magog. You look at Magog, and it's exactly where Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all those nations, that's Russia right there. Okay, so there you go. So going back, it says, "And say thus Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I'll bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company, with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." And this is going into how the Most High, he's going to bring back Russia to that Cold War mentality. Right, Russia at one point was considered the bear, right, fierce, ready to get down. Okay, but right now they've been on the lay low. They've just been chilling. But the Most High, he's going to bring them back, right? He's going to put hooks into their jaws and bring them back to war, to fight, okay, ultimately against Israel and the West, America. Okay, and it says the horses, horsemen, that's just going into all the technology, the military technology. It says Persia, and Persia, okay, is what Iran was previously called. Right, if you search up Iran or Persia, it tells you that Iran, officially the Islamic Republic of Iran, also known as Persia. Right, before it was called Iran, it was called Persia. So it's talking about Iran. So Persia or Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Okay, so those nations are going to be with Russia. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. Right, so also Gomer and the house of Togomar. Right, and this is where Turkey comes to play, because the same thing with Togomar, if you look at where it's at today, right, it's exactly where Turkey is at. Okay, it's talking about Turkey. And what are we seeing in the news? Right, Turkey used to be part of the EU, European Union, now tried to join the Brics. Okay, so there you have it, right? Prophecy unfolding. It says, "Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." Right? So Russia, Gog, and Magog is going to be a guard unto Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, and Turkey. Russia is going to be at the forefront. It says, "And after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee." Right, and this is now talking about how these nations are going to attack the land of Israel. Are going to attack those Jewish people. Right, Jewish. That's the key point, because the ish, right, is a suffix of being like. Right, if you say something is reddish, it's a little bit red. Right, and that's exactly what those people in the Holy Land are. Is they're imposters. They're Jewish. They're like the Jews, but they actually aren't Jews. Right, they're Edomites. Right, and Jew goes back to Judah, the tribe of Judah. So, but it talks about they're gonna ascend over the land like a cloud. Right, that's going into all the missiles that are gonna be shot. Right, it's gonna be like if it was covering the land. Right, a key example of that is the movie 300. Right, when you have the army of the Persians, right, Xerxes, and they're shooting, right, you just hear for a second the stall, right, the pause, and you see all the archers pull back and shoot their arrows. Okay, when those arrows are in the sky, it completely covers the sky because there's that many, right? That's exactly how the missiles are going to be, completely annihilating and making the land of Israel a wilderness, a desert. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, and it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought." Right, so while Russia, Iran, and these nations, Lebanon, are destroying the land of Israel, they're going to have an evil thought. It says, "And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates." Right, and the land of unwalled villages is talking about America. Right, so while they're destroying Israel, they're going to think, you know what, fuck it. Let's just go for America and really take control of everything. Right, because everybody's going to realize that America is the problem, and they're already realizing it. Right, that's another thing. All these nations are realizing that America is the cancer of the earth, and that this is the problem. And they're going to get rid of this place by the way of nuclear missiles. Okay, and the reason it refers to America as the land of unwalled villages is because if you search up American map states, right, those states, okay, you can refer to them as villages, right? But they have lines, right? They have lines dividing the states. But if you were to actually go there, there's no actual wall, right? There's no actual defense or nothing to actually separate it physically. It's just imaginary, right? So this is the land of unwalled villages, states that have no walls, villages. You know what I'm saying. So this is soon going to come, right? And right now we're at the beginning stages of World War III. Right, World War III pretty much has already begun. The tension is already there. And as it says in Jeremiah chapter 50, okay, it was going to happen by the least of the flock. Right, it says the least of the flock shall draw them out. Okay, and that's going into those Jewish people, right, those Edomites. Okay, through them, they were going to fight with Palestine. And that was, from those people, you're going to have World War III, right, because it's Israel versus Palestine right now. Then right now it's Israel versus Lebanon. Okay, and soon it's already going to escalate. Iran has already vowed to attack Israel. Soon it's going to be Israel versus Iran. Okay, and as we read, right, Russia is going to back Iran, right, Persia. So Iran, that's how Russia is going to step in, is by the means of Iran. And from there, you have the prophecy of Israel just being wiped out. So we're in those times. But a key point is that before those nukes okay, hit America, the mark of the beast has to be made mandatory, right? That's a stage in the prophecies, is that the mark of the beast has to be made mandatory before the nukes start flying. So before you see the chip, and we ain't got nothing to worry about being nuked, right? There's nothing to worry about. But as soon as you see that chip being pushed on the social media, on news, right, the government telling people it's mandatory, that's when it's a free-for-all. That's a green light for this place to crumble. So let me see if actually I was recording. Okay, great. So I'll leave it at that. That's what the scriptures are going into. And we're in those times, right? Turkey joining Brics, guaranteed, fulfilling the prophecy of Ezekiel 38 chapter. So hopefully this is edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors to the outer bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to elect. Shalom.